Hello everybody, I'm Victor Mazzari. Thank you for watching this video. Well, the southernmost point of Lake Michigan and the Wisconsin ice sheet, that is the subject of today's video. Well, to start with, we're going to talk about the Wisconsin glacial episode. And in doing that, I'm going to show you a little bit of information right here, and you can't read it in this video, but I'll read it off to you. During the Wisconsin glacial episode, a vast sheet of ice formed over most of Canada. Glaciers flowed away from the center of the ice sheet. The glacier that flowed through the Lake Michigan Basin and into northeastern Illinois reached its southernmost extent at Shelbyville about 20,000 years ago. Reached its southernmost extent at Shelbyville about 20,000 years ago. And I repeat that because we are here in Shelbyville, Illinois, and no better place to find rocks is Lake Shelbyville. And I'm just going to give you a good bird's eye view of this because this is Lake Michigan's would-be southernmost extent had the Lake Michigan Basin extended that far south. And just so you know, there is a good book called the Lake Michigan Rock Picker's Guide, and it talks in this book about the different points around the lake of where you can collect rocks, and it talks about its southernmost extent around Gary, Indiana, and the types of rocks that you can find. But I'm going to take it a step further, and in doing that, we are going to talk about Lake Michigan's would-be southernmost extent. And right now, I'm just giving you a good bird's eye view of the area. This is Lake Shelbyville, folks. Unfortunately, right now, there's been a lot of rain, and there's usually a beach here, like when the lake level is lower. And by the way, Lake Shelbyville, back in the early 70s, was nothing but a river that got swelled up just by them damming off a certain section of it. So in a way, it's kind of good because this area is very much virgin ground, and this area is very much natural. It hasn't been developed on. Now this is a little different than Lake Michigan shorelines, but we still have some rocks here. We still got a lot of them that still have their glacial force scratches in them and their their flat surfaces, such as this one. And I'll show you a little bit about that when I show you my collection here in just a second. But again, this is just a good bird's eye view of the landscape. And in the cliffs right here is where I would find rocks and minerals. As you can see, a lot of times I would be walking in my waders trying to find things because the water's so deep, unless there's a beach here. However, folks, when there was a beach here, I did find some stones, and I'll show you that collection right now. We'll go back to over here. And here's what we have. And I guess I could pour some water on them to give them a little polished look. Right here, these are what I call purplish quartzite, that originated from Wisconsin. They're called the Baraboo quartzite up there. Now, in this case, we have, you can't see it in this video probably, but they have their glacial scratches in them, very small little scratches, and they're still in their glacial form because most of this landscape is hard clay. Just as I talked about in the other videos about Lake Michigan shorelines or Lake Michigan bluffs, of where they have a sand and gravel section back when the lake level was higher, but then they have a hard clay section that has rocks that are still perfectly preserved and undisturbed. Well, of course, there was just a glacier here, and all it did was just deposit stuff, so there wasn't any past beach here. It was just basically glacial deposits. Right here we have green unakite, if you can see that. And this one, rhyolite pulpery, that can be found in the floor of Lake Superior. And these rocks This one right here, folks, is an agate, the classic red and white Lake Superior agate. And this rock is white chert. And these rocks right here aren't rocks. I almost want to call them something else. They are cement or conglomerate. Also, what we have here, let me see if I get this, cover this with water here. This is called brown shale from the Mississippian age. It's not like the gray shale that's found all the way in Lake Michigan's southernmost point around Gary, Indiana. So had the Lake Michigan basin extended this far south, we would find brown shale instead of gray shale. And this rock right here is a Petoskey stone, or Petoskey stone, which the Lake Michigan Rock Picker's Guide mentions. And these are very rare for this far out west and this far south. But I did find one. Petoskey stones are used in jewelry. This stone right here is a Fafosite fossil. Now, try to polish it here for you. As you can see, it has little crystals in it. That's pretty cool. They look like little needles or eyes. And one of the more common kinds right here, folks, is this rock. The type of, it's just a plain old basalt, but it still has its glacial scratches and its flat surfaces, which means that it has been perfectly preserved and undisturbed for thousands of years. In fact, 20,000 years, as the information says. But just to give you an idea of where we are, you know, this is Lake Michigan right here. We are in central Illinois right now, folks. Lake Michigan's would-be southernmost extent. And then what we have right here is granite. I don't know if you can see it. This is a red granite, or a unakite possibly. This rock right here is a lightning stone, or a sort of a metamorphic basalt. These other rocks are basalts. This one is a basalt with quartz veins. It's a Canadian. It is a Canadian shield, and in its dry state, it would sparkle, kind of like frost. And these two right here are metamorphic basalts. And this rock is a basalt pulpery. It is pulperetic. This one right here. And here's another basalt. Try to get it wet. It's a basalt with a black line running through it. It is Canadian shield. Let's see here. So here you have it, folks. Very good collection for Lake Shelbyville. And this one right here, by the way, is a brown sandstone. I forgot to mention that. Very commonly found on Lake Michigan's southeastern Wisconsin side. And this one is a honeycomb coral. I'll try to get it wet for you there. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'm Victor Mazzari, and I hope to have you watch the next video.